In this video, I'll talk about my experience working with two real students. We'll talk about their ideation process as well as how they narrowed down to the topics they wound up writing their essays on. Both of these examples are based on real people that I've worked with in the past. Some details of the essays and the backgrounds of the students have been slightly disguised. The first example comes from a male student in California. His initial brainstorm produced the following 6 essay topics. To start out, we have struggling to make the varsity tennis team in 10th grade and ultimately making it in 11th grade. And then we have a regional quiz bowl competition and how this student saved his team by knowing about Wagner's Flight of the Valkyries. We have an essay about tutoring a kid in Kumon who didn't quite understand negative numbers. We have photography around the neighborhood as a hobby. We have a family trip to Mexico where, after seeing the village living conditions, the student gained an appreciation for his own life. And we have an unsuccessful run for Associated Student Body Vice President during the student's junior year. This is a pretty common distribution of essay topics for a high-achieving student. We can start narrowing down these essay topics based off of the 5 essay topics we know to avoid. To start off, we see that the family trip to Mexico essay is probably not a very good topic. This is a version of the I've seen hardship in the world essay, and it's going to come across as pretty cliche. Similarly, the varsity tennis team story sounds a lot like an overcoming hardship, won at the last second, I'm the hero of my own story type essay. There's better options out there, so we're going to cross that one off the list. The quiz bowl essay sounds like an even more cliche version of the tennis essay, so this one we can eliminate pretty quickly. The 3 essays that are left all show some promise, but they have to be steered away from certain pitfalls in order for them to be successful. The tutoring at Kumon one is very interesting because it can offer some insight into the student's character and how they might provide mentorship to other students in college. As long as he doesn't make himself the hero of this story, this Kumon essay could make for a very insightful look into how this student thinks and how they would contribute as a member of the college community. Photography feels like a pretty acceptable essay topic, but my main question here is, what's the point of this essay? Is photography a central part of the student's character? This idea definitely needs a little bit more development. If this essay is too shallow, it's in danger of becoming a quirky but unrelated essay, where the topic is interesting, but its connection to the student isn't very clear. The unsuccessful run for ASB Vice President is, in my opinion, the strongest essay of this bunch. It takes real maturity to write about a failure, a story that doesn't necessarily have a happy ending. After we explored this story more, the student told me that he modeled his campaign off of the way he saw real politicians campaigning. Over time, he learned that that's not how you win a high school election. You have to use far different techniques when dealing with high school students. For an aspiring political science major, this essay just felt right. Now, this student ultimately ended up writing all 3 of these essays, the Kumon one, the photography one, and the government one, but for his final essay, he submitted the government one. Let's look at another example for a different student. These are 5 essay ideas that were brainstormed by a female student in Massachusetts. The first one is overcoming losing a grandparent to cancer when she was only 4 years old. The second one is volunteering at a retirement home and making friends with the people there. And then we have rescuing a stray dog from a thunderstorm, bringing it home and returning it to the owner the next day. We have an essay about connecting her interest in medicine to her time spent in the retirement home. And then we have an interest in performing stage magic after taking 2 introductory classes back during freshman year. You probably have some preconceptions over which ones are good topics and which ones are bad topics. Let's systematically go through each one and figure out which essays are worth writing. Let's start with the 4th topic. An essay connecting the student's interest in medicine to her time spent in a retirement home is going to be pretty cliche. There's a lot of students out there that volunteer at retirement homes. What's going to make this student's essay stand out? There's not that much to work with here unless we're looking at specific relationships or experiences. The stage magic essay is interesting, but it also feels a little out of place among all of the other essays. I get the impression that the student is very caring and compassionate. It feels weird to picture them as a charismatic, devious stage performer. I think this is a textbook case of a quirky but unrelated essay, where the student tries to be interesting by pulling from a very, very obscure experience that doesn't have much to do with her identity. I would take this one out. Let's talk now about this losing a loved one to cancer essay. Now, this essay carries with it a lot of emotional weight, and right away it appears to be the front runner among the topics we've looked at. If this student didn't take the time to brainstorm alternative topics, I'm pretty confident the student would have just written this essay from the start. So this is going to feel very bad to say, but I have to say it. Unfortunately, this is a very cliché essay. An essay like this is going to get you into your state school no problem, but when you're going for schools with a 10% or a 5% acceptance rate, it's going to get lost among all of the other cancer stories out there. Let's also look at this logically. The loss of a loved one when you're 4 years old is very significant, but is it the primary thing driving you now that you're 17 years old? A well-rounded student can't just rely on pity to get them into a good school. An essay should focus on your actions and things that you have control over, not just your childhood reaction to a traumatic event. If there's another applicant out there that writes a similar essay about losing a loved one to cancer and their test scores are better than you, you're going to end up on the reject pile. I should say that no matter what, our student is going to write this essay. It has too much significance to her, she's not just going to skip writing it altogether. I think writing it is okay, but submitting it for the final essay, I would be a little bit cautious about. Let's look now to this other retirement home essay. This has potential, but like the other one, it suffers from the potential to be cliché. If the student can really focus on an individual relationship, or maybe a specific experience with another individual, this essay has the potential to be a good essay. The success of this essay is also going to depend on the student's skill as a writer. A well-written essay on a cliché topic has a better chance of success than a poorly written essay on a cliché topic. The best essay, in my opinion, is the stray dog essay. I like this essay because it doesn't try to do too much. It's a simple story that offers some glimpse into how this student behaves in a scenario that's kind of unexpected. There's no winning the state championship, there's no trophy, this doesn't show up on the student's resume anywhere, but this experience offers a very interesting glimpse into the student's character, something that nothing else in the student's application is going to show. Could this essay be cliché? It's a possibility, but ask yourself how many other students are going to take the risk of writing about saving a dog in a thunderstorm. It seems obscure enough as a topic that the student can have success. I hope these examples have been helpful. In the next video, we're going to move on to laying out your essay. Now, this isn't the 5-paragraph essay that you learned in middle school. The layout of a college essay is actually a very, very important part of its success. See you in the next video.